Suddenly, a light flickered on, and the door opened to an elderly. The sun was setting over Black Woods Falls, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. It was the perfect evening for a boat party. College students from nearby universities gathered at the docks, laughter and music echoing across the water. Among them were Jake, Emily, and Tom, three friends who were looking forward to a night filled with fun. Jake had a carefree spirit. He was always the one to suggest adventures. Emily was more cautious but loved the excitement. Tom was their sensible friend, always thinking about safety. As the trio boarded the party boat, they felt the thrill of the unknown, the promise of a night to remember. The boat danced over the waves, laughter filling the air. Bright lights flashed as the music blared. As drinks were passed around, Jake encouraged the group to join in the fun. They danced on the deck, the energy electric. As the night wore on, they didn't notice how far they had drifted from the shore. At midnight, the boat anchored near a secluded beach. "Let's swim," shouted Jake, jumping into the cold water. Emily hesitated, but with a little coaxing, she and Tom followed. The water was refreshing, and for a moment, all their worries melted away. They splashed and floated, carefree as the moonlight shimmered on the surface. Suddenly, a loud splash echoed through the night. Jake had gone under the surface and hadn't come up. Panic set in as Emily and Tom called out to him. Moments passed, but there was no response. They dove under the water, searching for their friend. Finally, they saw him, struggling and frightened. They reached him just in time, pulling him to the surface. But a terrible accident had happened. In the chaos, they hadn't noticed that a girl named Lisa had also fallen overboard. To their horror, they realized she was nowhere to be found. They swam back to the boat and screamed for help. The party had turned chaotic, and people panicked, realizing that Lisa was gone. Even as searchlights swept over the water, the girl was lost. The boat docked in a hurry, and search teams scoured the beach and waters. As dawn broke, the sun revealed the tragedy. They found Lisa's body washed ashore. The news spread like wildfire, and the small town of Black Woods Falls was shaken with fear. The three friends were haunted by guilt. Jake felt responsible for encouraging everyone to swim. Emily was devastated over Lisa's death, and Tom tried to be the voice of reason, but the weight on their hearts was unbearable. Days passed, and the atmosphere of the town turned dark. Whispers surrounded them as they walked to class. Students avoided them, and they felt the lingering stares of suspicion. Each time a boat went out, laughter turned into whispers, and joy turned to unease. They became used to the shadows lurking just out of sight. But as Halloween approached, an even darker presence began to emerge. Rumors spread of a serial killer, a fisherman dressed in black with a rain slick. He was said to have haunted Black Woods Falls for years. Disappearances at sea, apparitions in the dark, stories of terror that sent shivers down everyone's spine. One night, Emily woke from a nightmare, dripping with sweat. She saw a figure standing by her window, cloaked in black. Heart racing, she blinked and it was gone. She convinced Jake and Tom to go out with her, claiming she had to face her fear. They walked to the beach, the sound of waves crashing echoing behind them. The moon provided meager light, and the air felt thick with tension. "What if the stories are true?" Jake asked, but Tom shook his head. "It's just stories. We need to be brave." As they stood near the water's edge, a sudden chill swept through the air. The remaining friends felt an unfamiliar sense of dread. "Come on, let's go," Emily urged, glancing over her shoulder. But before they could leave, a chilling figure emerged from the shadows, a tall man dressed in a black rain slick. His eyes glinted with malice. "Have you come to join your friend?" he asked in a low, rasping voice. The friends froze in fear, realizing he was the one from the stories. The fisherman stood firmly, a fishing spear in hand, his presence suffocating. "We didn't mean it," Jake shouted, surprising himself at his own fear-driven words. "We tried to save her." But the fisherman only laughed, a sound that echoed through the haunting darkness. With a swift movement, he lunged towards them. They ran, adrenaline pumping, racing along the beach. Tom tripped and fell, while Emily reached back to help him, her heart racing. Just as they turned back, the figure lunged again, catching Jake. Panic surged through them, but they faced the nightmare together. In a desperate attempt, Tom grabbed a stick and swung it, forcing the fisherman back. "Keep running," he yelled. They sprinted down the beach, their hearts pounding like drums. Behind them, the man cursed and called out, but the night swallowed his words. They reached the nearest house, pounding on the door with all their might. Finally, a light flickered on, and the door opened to an elderly couple. They quickly explained, gasping for breath, urging them to call the authorities. As sirens rang out in the distance, the fisherman disappeared back into the shadows, but the fear lingered. Black Woods Falls would never be the same. Emily, Jake, and Tom knew they had to confront their past, the guilt, and the darkness that lingered. It was just the beginning of a long journey toward healing. But for now, they were thankful to be alive.